Hello Internet, my name is Hazel from Hazelnutty Games, and this is an early look at the state of Restoration Shamans in the Warlords of Draenor Alpha. This information has been corroborated with the current alpha patch notes as of the release of this video. The alpha build you will see footage of here is numbered 18379 of patch 6.0.1. Let's start by talking about abilities that have been pruned from the restoration spec, and in some cases, removed from the game altogether. I'll kick off with the minor cuts, and we'll work our way up to the tough ones together. Bind Elemental. It's gone. Primal Strike is no longer available to Restoration Shaman. Magma Totem is no longer available to Restoration Shaman. Chain Lightning is no longer available to Restoration Shaman. Stormlash Totem is just straight up gone. Totemic Recall has been removed from the game. However, if it makes you feel any better, stray totems should theoretically no longer aggro mobs. Burning Wrath has been removed. This was our raid-wide passive buff that granted 10% spell power. Blizzard has stated intent to retune and redistribute the raid buff, so this must be part of that plan. Ancestral Awakening. This was a passive smart heal that used to proc off of critical single target heals with a minor visual effect. It has been removed. Healing Wave as we know it has now been removed. Greater Healing Wave has been renamed to Healing Wave. I like to think of it as pretty alright Healing Wave. Unleash Elements has been removed and replaced with spec-specific versions of the spell. Restoration Shamans will receive Unleash Life instead, which now provides a direct heal to the target and buffs the next single target heal by 30%. This spell has a bigger direct heal than previously, but will no longer buff Healing Rain. Earth Living Weapon, along with the rest of the weapon imbues, has been removed. They're all gone. And last, Mana Tide Totem has been removed. Blizzard states that our mana costs have been adjusted to compensate. Alright, that's all the ability pruning for now. Let's take some deep breaths and we'll look at the spell changes. Chain Heal now heals each chain target for 15% less than the previous target. The Mists version of this spell healed each target equally. There's now a level 100 talent called High Tide, which appears to reverse the nerf and adds additional targets if they're affected by Riptide. Glyph of Chaining no longer adds a 2-second cooldown to chain heal, and now seems like kind of a no-brainer. Healing Stream Totem has had its mana cost reduced by a bit, and its healing reduced by a lot. Conductivity is a tier 5 shaman talent that allows you to add time to your healing rain by casting spells. The Mists version of this spell allowed this to proc off damaging or healing spell, while in Warlords only healing spells will trigger the effect for Resto Shaman. Ancestral Guidance, another tier 5 shaman talent, has been nerfed to copy only 20% of damage or healing to party members when active, as opposed to 40% of healing and 60% of damage previously. Echo of the Elements. This is a tier 4 shaman talent choice that has been reworded into a much different ability. This is what it looks like in Mists of Pandaria. This is what it's been changed into with Warlords. This is a proc that you will be seeing and using while healing. It will make your next cast of either Healing Rain, Riptide, or Purify Spirit incur no cooldown. This means that you can layer 2 Healing Rains at once by yourself, blanket Hots a little bit faster, or be super snappy on Dispels when need be, if it procs. Note that the proc does not finish any in-progress cooldowns on these spells, it will only allow your next cast to not incur one. Water Shield now persists through death. Additionally, the extra mana regeneration now will only proc off of melee attacks and is no longer triggered by spells or ranged attacks. Tidal Waves functions much the same as before, but reduces the cast of the next healing wave by only 20% as compared to the 30% that we used to enjoy. Resurgence no longer requires Water Shield to be active. This is the effect that restores bonus mana to the Resto Shaman in the event of a critical heal. Lightning Bolt is no longer castable while moving for any Shaman spec. It can still be affected by the Spirit Walker's Grace buff, but outside of that you will cancel your cast if you step out of line. If you are a Primal Elementalist kind of person, you should note that Primal Earth Elemental's Pulverize ability, which stuns a target, no longer does damage. Aw darn. Searing Totem got buffed by 65%, and Wind Shear no longer causes threat. We've seen a lot of intense changes, and not all of them are live in the alpha yet. Most notably, Water Shield is missing in the current build. Without it, I was really concerned that my mana would be a problem for me during Bloodmaw Slagmines. Surprisingly, I found it wasn't as rough as I thought, mana-wise. I definitely felt the weight of the nerfs, and I found it took a bit more active planning as well as cooldown rotation to try and keep everyone alive. Apparently, the days when you could just top off your tank with a quick healing surge are gone. Overall, I felt more limited by my GCDs and my opportunities for safe casting rather than my mana. Several fights in this instance dealt high amounts of AoE damage. The Echo of the Elements proc that lets you layer healing rains is hugely helpful here when the group is stacked. When the group was spread out, I found it more effective to use the procs for blanketing Riptides across the group and spamming Chain Heal. Glyph of Chaining is a must here. It increases the jump distance of your Chain Heal by 100% and now has absolutely no penalty. Keeping all of your cooldowns handy is mandatory, as at early gear levels it looks like you'll need them pretty much on cooldown. The dungeon difficulty feels like it sits a bit easier than the early Cataclysm dungeons, but a bit tougher than the early Dungeons of Mists. A lot of the fights in Trash require a decent amount of movement, making me grateful that Riptide, Earth Shield, and the healing totems are still instant cast. So far, there don't appear to be any major new visual spell effects for Restoration Shaman. We may get some shiny stuff with the level 100 talents. Condensation looks like an interesting ability in a raid environment, collecting general overhealing and granting it to you as spell power for your next heal. Storm Elemental Totem sounds flashy, a pet summon in the style of Fire and Earth Elemental that causes damage and healing. High Tide currently sounds like the default choice for raid healing, providing a significant buff to our Chain Heal spell. Having said that, I'm not a numbers girl, and we'll see how the experts parse it out when the time comes. And that's what the Restoration Shaman is currently like at level 92 in the Warlords of Draenor Alpha. My name is Hazel from Hazelnutty Games, and make sure to subscribe for more content from the Warlords Alpha. Let me know what you think, and have a wonderful, wonderful day. Bye!